Eggs. Why did it have to be eggs? This wonderful ingredient was brought into the light when Harrison Ford fell on a crate of eggs in Indiana Jones. For the record, I've never seen Indiana Jones. Maybe I should watch it, but you should definitely listen to this episode of The Sweet Life of Snack and Foodie.
This is the sweet life. We've got the sweet life. Whatever.
My leg.
Welcome to the premiere episode of The Sweet Life of Snack and Foodie, the podcast that explores the wonderful world of food for the everyday person. I'm your host, Hugo Chan, for today, and with me I have special guest, Anik Farmer. So Anik, how well versed are you with eggs? Or like just in general, really?
Yeah, so it's an interesting topic. I'm glad to be on for this episode because I feel like I've had eggs for every meal at some point in my day, like whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner. I never really thought about how versatile they are until you wanted to talk about them.
I don't know how much of an expert you are about eggs, but I'm gonna start this segment with 5 facts about eggs. Fact number 1: if you accidentally drop an egg on the ground, what do you do?
I guess you would clean it up, right?
How would you clean it up?
You would pick up the shells first, I guess, and then clean the yolk.
I mean, that's generically yes, but if you accidentally drop an egg on the ground, all you have to do is sprinkle it with salt heavily. It makes for an easy cleanup right after that.
Why does that work?
What happens is the salt dries up the egg, not like seasoning amount of salt, but like a heavy amount of salt. It dries up the egg so that when you sweep or use a paper towel, it cleans up the egg much more easily as a solid than as a liquid form.
Oh, so the salt would make it lose its watery texture.
Pretty much, it's pretty much the same with all form of liquid. You add a shitload of salt to it, and it's easy, and it's for easy cleanup.
Okay,
if you accidentally drop an egg. Fact number 2: a large egg contains only 70 calories and 5 grams of fat.
Okay, that one I knew because I used this app when I was tracking, kind of learning more about food and nutrition. It was called MyFitnessPal.
Okay.
And how it basically worked was, I think it's made by Under Armour. Please sponsor this podcast.
For the record, it is not sponsored by Under Armour.
Or anybody, but we would, you would scan the UPC of a food product, like let's say a carton of eggs or the back of a juice box or something, and then it would tell you the nutritional facts. And so that was kind of an interesting way, like I learned about food, realizing what I was putting in my body.
But how often would the average person be scanning item on the back, like scanning the barcode of an item every single time they want to?
Oh no, for sure, yeah. It's definitely not something I think everyone does right away, but it's one thing where I realized like eggs are really a superfood if you think about it.
Yeah, it's a superfood, and like you said earlier, it's versatile with literally every other ingredient.
Yeah, exactly.
Fact number 3: how many eggs do you think the average hen lays a year?
That's tough, man. I feel like I'm gonna give a really bad answer, but maybe like 100?
Ooh, very close. An average hen lays 300 to 325 eggs a year. This is obviously like not including like, the coronavirus, not including like a snowstorm, but just the like average hen on like a regular year.
325.
It's 325, yes. 300 to 325, so give or take. Bad day, bad year, 300 eggs. Good year, 325 eggs. And a super chicken, 330 eggs.
So how many cartons does that work out to per hen?
Per hen? You divide that by 12.
Come on, Mr. Math Major.
30?
Like, yeah, just about 30, right?
30 or less?
Well, just under 30, maybe like 28, 29. Yeah. But yeah, okay.
Say 30, because if you say 27 cartons, then it's like, it's not a nice number to say, so just say 30.
I guess if you look at the average family though, do you think a family of 4 goes through a carton per week or less or more?
Average family of 4, I know my family goes through a carton of eggs a week.
So that's you need a lot of hens then.
Yeah, but Yeah, but the farm does not contain one hen, and it's like, all right, moneymaker, time to make me some money, and then the hen like
No, for sure. But
provides that.
it's just when you think about it in that sense, one hen gives enough.
Yeah.
Like a month's. No, what am I saying? Like 3 families worth of eggs for a year.
Yeah, 3 families worth of eggs, so that's one hen. Well, that's one hen. So this also leads into fact number 4. So to produce one egg, how long does it take a hen to lay the egg?
Oh, that's a great question. Again, I think I'm gonna give a stupid answer, but I feel like it's shorter than I think.
There are no
maybe like
there are no stupid answers. Only stupid people.
I would say maybe like a week or 2.
Even closer, 24 to 26 hours.
Oh wow, okay, so it is a lot shorter.
It's like the average person takes a dump once per day. This is essentially the hen taking a dump. It's like, oh, okay, I'm taking a dump. Here you go. Here's an egg for you.
That's disgusting. You're gonna ruin eggs for a lot of people.
So fact number 5. What do you think the difference between a brown egg and a white egg is? And we're not talking about like racism here. Like, what's the difference between brown eggs and a white egg?
As a brown man, does it have to do with like light exposure on the shell?
Maybe. So for brown eggs and white eggs, there is practically no difference whatsoever. The way they taste and the way they're produced is exactly the same. And the same for the health of the color egg. Like literally any egg, brown egg, white egg, any coloring on the egg. The only health difference for a brown egg and a white egg is the hen health and what the hen eats. So
really?
Yes.
Okay.
So if one hen lays a brown egg and they've eaten nothing but organic grains and whatnot, then obviously that egg is a lot healthier than if a hen that lays a white egg and only eats chemicals.
So, but there's no difference in nutrition between the
There is no difference in nutrition.
So is there a reason why the eggs are different colors, or is it just something that happened?
Man, I'm about to tell you in this next segment called
sorry.
Misconception About Eggs.
Alright, let's do it.
Okay, so to answer your question, it's not that the brown chickens poop out brown eggs and white chicken poops out white eggs. They literally could poop out any form of eggs.
Can we not
So-
use poop out, please? It's truly random.
I guess it's random, but what determines the color of the eggs, it depends on the chicken's earlobes.
The earlobes.
Yes. So if their earlobes is brown, they'll lay out brown eggs. If their earlobes is white, lay white eggs. And then obviously, based on what they eat, that's what the egg's health depends on.
Okay. So, wow, I didn't know that. I thought it was, well, I was totally off because I thought maybe the brown eggs were exposed to more sunlight or something. Alright, well, don't listen to me for food.
So another misconception about egg is every egg is a baby chicken. Female humans are born with all the eggs they'll ever have, and their bodies release those eggs throughout their lives. The same is true of female chickens. Egg farmers don't need to keep roosters around unless they want more chickens, because hen will lay eggs either way.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, because when you were saying that the hens lay 300 eggs, I was wondering, are they constantly being fertilized every day, or what the deal was?
No, the hen will continuously lay eggs regardless of if a rooster is there. If the farmer decides that, I want more chickens, then they'll keep a rooster around, and then the rooster will now become a pimp.
Well, I don't think they're called pimps, but yes, that's correct.
Pimp, rooster, potato. Another misconception about eggs is every single egg that you buy, they are unfertilized, which means they were never alive in the first place.
Ooh, I hope I'm not eating little baby chickens.
So vegans, if you're listening, don't feel guilty about eggs. They were never alive in the first place.
Okay, so they weren't alive.
They were never alive in the first place.
Okay, this might be a gross question, but what's the yolk then?
The yolk it's like the nucleus.
Okay, so but the actual egg was never alive. Well,
it was never alive. It's not like the roosters. It's not like the rooster is there, and then the hen laid an egg. I'm not going to use the word poop, but the hen laid an egg, and then the farmer stopped the egg from being a chicken. The egg itself is it wasn't fertilized in the first place.
I mean, that wouldn't bother me as somebody that eats chickens, but it's kind of weird to think about if it was a little baby chicken.
No,
So
yes,
that's good
it'd
to
be
know.
it'll be a little weird if it was a baby chicken because you do hear stories about little baby chickens being mixed up in there and growing over time, and it's oh no, out of the dozen eggs that you buy, there's one baby chicken there. Was it mixed up in there or not? Did a farmer reach in and like stop the chicken from pull the chicken out before they turn into a chicken? So now that you know, it's most eggs you buy are unfertilized whatsoever.
Okay, well that's good to know. I think
Yep.
most people will be happy knowing that.
Yeah. Okay, so final misconception about eggs is that cage-free chicken eggs are not necessarily free-range chicken eggs.
Sorry, can you say that again?
Cage-free chicken eggs are not necessarily free-range chicken eggs.
So you could be not in a cage, but that doesn't mean you're running around freely.
Most industrial egg producers keep their birds in very close quarter. Whether that means cage or cage-free pens, which are just essentially less large cages. Cage-free is pretty much like a fenced environment. They get to run around and do whatever they want. But free-range chickens, like a sheep, like a herd dog, just like, all right, you get to run wherever you want, but you know, when we need you, we're gonna call you back.
So here's a question. I'm assuming the answer is yes, but free range is healthier and tastes better?
Not necessarily. It's just an ethical perspective. It could taste pretty much exactly the same as free-range chicken. But what usually happens is free-range chickens are treated better than the chickens trapped in a cage, and which generally results to, since they're treated better, the meat is more relaxed, they get fed better, which generally results in better chicken eggs
Okay.
due to the environment.
I mean, I've had free range eggs before, and I think they are objectively better than.
Objectively, because there's also the perspective that free-range egg in your mind, you're kind of almost forced to think that they taste better. Realistically, they could easily be fed the exact same way, treated the exact same way, and they would taste the exact same.
Yeah, it might have been placebo, so you might be right about that. But
Maybe.
just from my like small experience, I think it was better. But I guess the cost to the consumer is higher, so that's kind of that ethical dilemma I think people face. Where do I just buy the industrial eggs, or do I get the free range?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's definitely based on the consumer's mindset.
Do you think? Do you think it's better for the consumer then if they can afford to buy free range to buy that, or it doesn't matter?
You can afford it, and it's well within your financial ability to do so. Grab the free-range eggs, lead a much happier life. It's good for the mind, good for the soul, but you're not sacrificing taste when you buy the industrial eggs.
All right, man. There it is. Free range chicken. Subscribe. Buy some merch. Sponsor the podcast.
You heard it here first. We're now being sponsored by free-range chicken eggs. So, what do you know about cooking eggs?
Well, I know there's like 1,000 different techniques you can do. I mean, I am not a sophisticated egg cooker. I cook them over easy, generally speaking. And maybe make scrambled eggs and omelets. So I'm at 3.
That's perfectly fine. I'm gonna go over the generic ways to cook eggs in this brand new segment I like to call "What came first, the chicken or the egg?" It doesn't matter because you can't cook either one. So the basic science behind it is for eggs, the white will coagulate or set between 144 and 149 degrees Fahrenheit, while the yolk will set between 149 and 158 degrees Fahrenheit. There's a little science behind it, and the whole egg will cook between 144 and 158 degrees Fahrenheit.
So in layman's terms, because assuming most people don't have an egg thermometer.
Most people don't have a thermometer to cook it, but this is generally when the egg will set. When you cook an egg, generically a low heat will not do it. It'll still cook, but it'll take even longer to reach that temperature when the egg white and the yolk will coagulate.
So you would say
to make it,
just
like,
put it on
safe to eat.
medium heat anyway. Like, there's no
Yes.
need to warm up the egg slowly.
Yeah, there's no need to warm up the egg slowly. It's an egg.
So here's a question for you from our viewers. Sometimes when people cook eggs, there's always that filmy kind of part that goes around the white part of the egg.
Yes.
What is that exactly, and why does that happen?
The filmy part of the egg is the membrane of the egg yolk. If it still looks a little bit like the egg white, that means it's not cooked yet. That's all it is. It's everything in the egg is edible, and it's only filmy because, well, it's not cooked yet.
Okay.
So the basic. Sorry, what were you going to say?
No, I was just saying the viewers are wondering.
With the viewers, huh?
The thousands.
Okay, So the basic principle of egg cooking is to use a medium to low temperature and time carefully. When you cook eggs at a too high of a temperature or too long at a low temperature, the whites shrink and become tough and rubbery, and the yolks become tough. It'll practically become edible, and you wasted a perfectly good egg. Yes, the eggs are cheap, but let's not waste food. Waste not, want not.
That's not what we do here.
No, of course not. So to cook a hard-boiled egg, first off, you place an egg in a saucepan large enough to hold them in a single layer. Add enough cold water to come at least 1 inch above the egg. Heat over high heat to boiling. Then, once it's boiled, turn off the heat. If necessary, remove the pan from the burner to prevent further boiling, and just cover the pan. Let the egg stand in hot water about 12 minutes for a large egg, for about 9 minutes for medium, and about 15 for an extra large size egg. And then immediately, once you reach that timing, immediately run cold water over the eggs and place them into ice water until they're completely cooled. That is the cooking method for a hard-boiled egg.
I've seen a bunch of methods where some people boil the water and then turn it off and let the egg cook. Some people boil all the way through. But you're describing the correct, most perfect method.
Yes. The reason why I don't want to put the eggs in hot water immediately, I don't want to quote unquote excite the eggs way too quickly.
Is that when the egg explodes kind of halfway?
Yes, pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much that's when the egg explodes, and it's like, oh yes, inside the egg is cooked, but you see that little egg white popping out of
The shell.
The shell, and it doesn't look like a round egg at the end of the day.
Okay.
Now for a soft boiled egg, it's not the same, but reducing the timing. For a soft boiled egg, bring the water up to a boil, then lower it to a rapid simmer. Add the eggs to a pot and then begin timing. If you're cooking 1 or 2 eggs, 5 minutes is a perfect runny yolk, or cook as long as 7 minutes for a firmly set yolk.
So for the average person, I think we know what boiling is, but what is a rapid simmer?
Boiling is keeping the water above 100 degrees Celsius, and then you can see like the water actively boiling. But then rapid simmer is just like the ocean, where you just see with a small wave small tiny divots in the water just moving itself.
So not the aggressive bubbling, any of that.
Not the aggressive bubbling. It's just like water still moving on its own, but not to the aggressive kind of boil.
Hey man, it's just what the viewers are asking, right?
Thanks for representing the viewers. Thanks for making sure that the viewers understand that with soft-boiled egg, it's not just reducing the timing for a hard-boiled egg. There's a slightly different method to cooking a soft-boiled egg. So for a sunny-side-up egg, heat a small amount of butter in a non-stick pan over a medium-high heat until hot. Break eggs and slip into pan one at a time. And then once you do so, immediately reduce heat to low. Cover the pan and cook slowly until whites are completely set and yolks begin to thicken but are not hard. This should take you 5 to 6 minutes. That's a sunny-side-up egg.
Okay, so here's a question. Is there an issue using oil or butter?
No, there is no issue with oil or butter. The butter realistically has a better taste profile than oil. But what the oil and butter is there to do is just pretty much guarantee that the egg will not stick to the pan. As soon as the egg sticks to the pan, the chances of the egg yolk cracking will be a lot higher, and you won't end up with a sunny side up egg, and you'll end up with like an exploding sun on clouds.
That sounds awful. And
yeah, I know.
How many eggs? So you said to put 1 egg in the pan at a time, or can you use can you put 2 or 3 eggs in a pan at once, or does that affect the cooking time and everything?
That's a good question. Ideally, you put 1 egg at a time, but in a medium to high heat, once you add 1 egg, naturally the heat of the pan will reduce. So you can cook as many eggs as your pan can contain, but you also have to make sure that you know which eggs that you put in first, second, and third, because the pan itself will also need to heat back up once you drop the second and third egg, the heat of the pan will go down and the cooking time will change for those eggs as well.
And the heat of the pan is decreasing because you're putting something cold in there.
Yes.
Okay.
But while humans cannot sense the heat of the pan, the ingredients itself are much more sensitive, and so adding more to the pan will change the heat distribution to the ingredients.
And I'm guessing just putting the heat higher on the element is not going to solve your problem.
It will not solve your problem because once you do so, then your first egg will cook even faster and have crisps on the outside, and it will turn from a sunny side up egg to a fried egg.
Gotcha. Okay, so just like anything in life, just nice and easy.
You know the children's story, the tortoise and the hare, and how the tortoise won for some miracle.
Yeah, man. The hare blew a 3-1 lead, man.
Yeah. So hare got cocky, blew a 3-1 lead, and the moral of the story: slow and steady wins the race. To just take your time. It takes 5 to 6 minutes for a sunny side egg. The more eggs you add to it, the longer it'll take.
Gotcha.
Tell me how to cook an egg over easy.
Man, now now you're making me rethink everything I've ever done with an egg. So an over easy egg, is it not similar to a sunny side up egg, but you just flip it a lot sooner? I think I'm 100% wrong.
It's not wrong, but with a sunny side egg, the biggest difference with the sunny side up egg, and over easy egg, over medium, or over a hard egg is with a sunny side up egg, you don't flip the egg. You just put a lid on it and cover the sunny side up egg until it's cooked. With over easy egg, like you said, you do flip it after 5 to 6 minutes. Do not cover the pan, and be very careful. Do not break the yolk. Obviously, over easy is 30 seconds, and 1 minute would be over hard egg. Over medium would be 45-second eggs once you flip it.
Okay, that's good to know. I feel like I've been doing this wrong, so as I listen to this podcast back, I'm gonna really rethink something.
With cooking, there is no a set way. What I'm describing and what we're describing here is a general way to cook the eggs, because I say medium to high heat, but your medium to high heat might be different than somebody else's medium to high heat. So it's obviously through trial and error, through testing. But this is the generic way to how you would cook the egg.
Yeah, I think it's important to mention to people that everyone's stoves elements heat at different temperatures, and your medium is not my medium, so 5 minutes for you could be 4 minutes for me. So it's important.
And obviously your pan is different than my pan.
Yeah,
and
it
also,
might conduct
it also
heat better
on,
or worse. Yeah, so
yeah,
it's a good point.
Also, it also is based, obviously, assuming that your egg yolk doesn't crack, but also how heavy-handed you are with your with releasing the egg. If you release the egg and it breaks the yolk, then there's no point to it.
Or even how heavy your egg is too.
Yes, how heavy your egg is. Do not drop it from a high height, but obviously drop it from a low enough height without scorching yourself.
And probably how cold your fridge is, maybe. So there's a whole bunch of factors too.
Yeah.
That go into this.
So with a poached egg, bring a large pot of water to a boil, and then reduce to low or turn off the heat. When you cook the poached egg, what you're going to be doing is using the residual heat from the boiled water to cook it. Transfer the egg to a small ramekin or bowl or a shallow cup, pretty much a small container to contain the egg. Add 1 tablespoon of light colored vinegar to the pot and stir to create a vortex. The vinegar itself is not enough vinegar to change the taste, but the chemical reaction from the vinegar will help the egg white strengthen over the yolk. Pour the ramekin of your egg, or bowl or cup with the egg, into the middle of the vortex and set a timer for 3 minutes. Once the egg is done, use a slotted spoon to remove the poached egg. Dab
on him, mama!
With a paper towel to remove excess water and eat immediately. Obviously, I'm not saying salt and pepper after every single cooking, but season to your own discretion.
Season your food.
You donkey.
It's funny you bring up Mr. Gordon, because the first time I ever heard of a poached egg was really from watching MasterChef. You know when they'd have those early competitions to weed out people?
The MasterChef competition, and then it's your challenge is to make a poached egg. Oh, simple. And you have 2 seconds to do it. Oh, shit.
Dude, and you just see grown men with families crying because they can't boil this egg properly. But you know what? It is very challenging to do it properly, for sure.
Yes.
And I didn't know about the vinegar stuff. So.
Yeah. So once again, the vinegar itself is, you add enough vinegar to solidify the egg white around the egg yolk. The amount of vinegar you add, it's not enough to change the taste. but it's just there as a chemical reaction. So obviously don't use like balsamic vinegar or like dark color vinegar. That'll just change the color of the egg white itself unless you really want that color. So for the last part, I'm glad you mentioned Gordon Ramsay, because this is his way of making the scrambled egg. You can make the scrambled eggs by just whisking the egg in a bowl and just pouring it in a pan, like in a hot pan with butter, and just keep mixing it until the egg is cooked. That is one way to do a simplified scrambled egg. But this is Gordon Ramsay's method of scrambled egg. So you put egg in a cold pan, and then you add butter. Put the pan onto the stove and mix the eggs quickly with a rubber spatula as you bring it up to high heat. Make sure to scrape the sides clean as you go. Once you have an even mixture, take the pan off the stove, stir, then put it back onto the heat. Going back and forth like this allows you to cook the eggs over high heat without overcooking them. Once curds start to form, turn off the heat and move the pan to a colder surface. The colder surface will now start to cool down the eggs. The eggs will continue to cook, so you want to move quickly. And you keep stirring it until you get the scrambled egg of your choosing.
So this is funny you bring up scrambled eggs because everybody I know makes them differently. So I'll just tell you how my mom makes them. So you crack 2 eggs in a bowl. You put milk and then you put salt, pepper, and whatever seasoning. Like we put some like not red pepper. It's like the Indian red spice. I don't know how to translate it into English, but
Paprika?
I don't think it's paprika, but it's literally just chili powder.
Sure.
That's what it is. It's chili powder.
Sure.
That's what it is.
Okay,
chili
sure.
powder.
Chili powder it is. Chili powder.
Then we put that into the pan, and then you stir it around to make the curd. But when I watched the Gordon Ramsay video on YouTube, I encourage everyone to watch that. That's what he was talking about. He's taking it off the fire, back on the fire, and I was so confused.
I was confused too when I watched it because the name itself is scrambled egg. You scramble the egg, you cook it, that's scrambled egg. But then his way is much more softer, much more velvety, because you fold the butter in, you fold all the ingredients into the egg so that you get a little bit of every single ingredient when you eat the scrambled egg.
His way definitely seems better. It just seems a lot more time consuming.
He's a Michelin star chef, of course it's better. One thing I would say about the way your mom does it, I'm sure the egg that she makes is fantastic. But when you season eggs for scrambled eggs, do it at the very end, because once again, the salt and pepper extracts the water from the egg, and when you cook the scrambled egg, it makes it much more watery to do so. If you're gonna season the eggs, season it at the end.
Okay, so salt and peppering your eggs as they're cooking is no guy.
I would say between middle of cooking and end of cooking.
Okay, good to know.
So with any form of any egg, refrigerated eggs generally last between 4 to 5 weeks. Obviously, if it smells bad, like any food, chuck it, get rid of it. So what goes with eggs, you may ask? Well, thanks for asking. Literally anything.
Anyway.
You know
what goes with eggs, Hugo?
You know what? I'm glad you asked. It's such an ingredient that there are close to nothing that doesn't go well with eggs. Obviously, if you do a hot egg dish with a dessert item, it won't go well together. But you can do eggs in a dessert with a dessert ingredient and will pair wonderfully well together.
It blows my mind how versatile eggs are. I mean, you're in the morning, you want to do some hard-boiled eggs with some mayo, make a little egg salad. At night, you can make a wrap. You know, actually, a common thing my mom used to make is egg curry, like Indian food, but the star is curry instead of chicken. But it's the same sort of recipe. So, to me, it's crazy the things you can do with eggs.
I also think it's mind-blowing that our ancestors before then somehow discovered that, we can literally use eggs with anything we want because it's such a common ingredient they've had an abundance of that they could also experiment with it.
Well, even eggs too, like in baking or egg tarts and that kind of stuff. Like I don't think people realize how much eggs really impact their diet.
All the way from custards to just binding the pastries and egg wash and whatnot. It is literally a superfood. It's literally magic if you believe in magic. So how much do you think restaurants pay for eggs?
So I'm not sure how restaurant food gets sourced, but it has to be less than what we pay for in grocery stores. Because I would think they buy straight from the farmers or something.
Yeah, you're right. It's common. It's sort of common knowledge that restaurants can acquire ingredients at a much cheaper price than what the regular consumer can do, because usually restaurants have a contract or a deal with the producers and say, you know what, we're going to continue buying from you. And then the producer's like, all right, you know what, I'll get you these items for cheaper. So according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, a restaurant can acquire a dozen eggs for $1.41.
Okay.
But at a regular store, a dozen white eggs can go for $2.69, or brown eggs for $3.50 for a dozen.
Yeah, so it's about half the price.
It's about half the price, yes. Like I mentioned earlier, white eggs and brown eggs, there are practically no difference whatsoever, but yet there's a big price point difference between it, $2.69 and $3.50.
Is there a reason why that's the case, or?
Not sure why. Not sure why there's a difference, but there's such a huge difference. Maybe it's just like, oh, brown eggs are much more rare, or for some, you know what, we're gonna charge you more for it. But realistically, taste-wise, health-wise, they're the exact same. So don't get confused by brown eggs being a luxury. So about earlier, I mentioned egg fact was that an eggs have 70 calories and 5 grams of fat. But did you know they also contain 6 grams of protein too? So after the gym, all you have to do, eat a raw egg, you're good to go.
I don't think that is correct.
Don't need that protein powder, eat a raw egg, you're good to go.
Children?
It's much healthier too, I mean. Raw, it's, you know where the eggs come from, protein powder, that nasty company creating protein powder for you. You don't need that.
I don't think anyone should eat raw egg.
Don't eat raw eggs.
I'm not a medical professional by any means, but I do not think.
Hey, what's this 2 letters beside your name? MD.
I don't think that's accurate.
It is not accurate. We're not health professionals here. So while the egg is high in cholesterol, it doesn't affect the blood cholesterol. Did you know that?
I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah, so once again, while the egg is high in cholesterol, it doesn't affect the blood cholesterol. Sure, if you eat a ton of eggs, it'll affect it, but one egg will not end your life. So if you're concerned about your, blood cholesterol level, it won't change it. The liver actually naturally produces a large amount of cholesterol every day. So when you add more cholesterol into your body, your liver decides, you know what, I'm going to balance out so I don't overdose on cholesterol.
Yeah, I think this is a good maybe topic for later that you can do, because I think a lot of people hear the words cholesterol and fats and stuff and don't realize that it's not necessarily bad for you. It's just that we don't really understand, I speak for myself, like the common person really understand what all that stuff entails. Like, you need fat, you need cholesterol, you need sugar, and so on. It's just how do you go about it in a healthy way.
Yes, you're right. Yes, you're right. It's how do you go about it the healthy way. If you eat literally anything with an over amount of eating, then it will affect you. But if you're worried about your cholesterol, eating one egg will not harm your health. Did you also know that eating eggs does not raise your risk of heart disease and may lower your risk of having a stroke?
I did not know that.
Yeah. So this doesn't mean that if your family has a history of having a stroke, it doesn't mean that every single meal that you start eating an egg and then you'll never have a stroke again. It doesn't work like that. It just lowers your percentage. It doesn't mean it's impossible if all you do is eat eggs. Final egg health fact is that eggs are incredibly filling and tend to make you eat fewer calories. This results in helping you lose weight.
So why does that happen? Is it just the way your body digests the actual egg, or is there something else about it?
I think it's just the way the body digests the egg and the nutrients that provided in the egg. It's relatively speaking that it's like eggs provide this amount of nutrients. So compared to some other ingredients, you only need to eat one egg to do the role of not only the egg and some other ingredients. So you're eating less, but more nutrients are entering your body, which in turn helps you lose weight. It doesn't mean like, oh, I want to go on a diet, I'm going to eat all the eggs in the world, and then, I'm going to look like a supermodel. It doesn't mean that.
It can just help you live a more healthy lifestyle.
Yes, it does help you live a more healthy lifestyle. Remember the food pyramid we have?
Yeah, didn't they change that recently though?
Yeah, they changed it to a plate, fork, and a glass of water.
Oh boy.
And then it's like the plate is not even divided into 4 equal parts. It's some skewed triangles.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave that to the professionals.
So before we get into the last segment, here are 3 egg dishes that other countries around the world do with the egg. So what do you think a Jewish egg dish is?
The only food I know that has Jewish heritage is a latke, and I don't think that's right. That's potato.
Yes, that is potatoes. They may use an egg to bind the latke, but that's not an egg-centric dish that the Jewish culture does. One egg dish that the Jewish culture does with the egg is a dish called shakshuka.
Oh, I've had this before, but I didn't know that was I thought it was some sort of Mediterranean. Well, I guess
It is eaten in the Mediterranean as well, but the origins for it is believed to have been in Israel, closer to the Jewish-centric neighborhood.
So this is really good. It's almost like a tomato. You have crushed tomatoes, spinach, and eggs cooked together. It's really good.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's an egg dish perfect for breakfast, brunch, and dinner. Like you said, it is a savory tomato pepper stew, and top it with eggs and goat cheese before baking into the oven. So, can you name me some egg dishes that America has done with the common egg?
Well, I always think of their breakfast. I guess it's similar to an English breakfast, where it's just egg, sausage, hash browns. But I don't know.
But an English breakfast is British, isn't it?
Yeah, you're gonna have to help me out here.
Obviously, the king of all egg dishes in America is the Eggs Benedict.
Oh,
And
I didn't know that was American.
Yeah, you didn't know. What do you think it was named after?
Benedict Arnold.
Yeah, you're wrong. No, it's not named after Benedict Arnold, but actually a Wall Street broker.
Oh, okay.
He went into the hotel, decided, you know what, this is what I want. And the chef made it and named it after him. So it's an American dish with poached egg sitting on top of bacon, English muffin, topped with the hollandaise sauce. That is an Eggs Benedict. So, Ani,
Yeah.
you are from India.
That is correct.
Can you name me some Indian egg dishes?
Well, there's egg curry, but I mean, I'm sure when you mention it, it'll be very obvious. But what do you have there?
Have you heard of Dimar Patodi?
I don't.
It's a dish from West Bengal in India.
Okay, so that might be why I haven't heard of it, because we're from kind of we're from like a northern part of the country. Well, the country's divided in different states, kind of like America and Canada. So they all have their own different cuisines. No, I actually haven't
Obviously.
heard of that one. Yeah, I haven't
Obviously.
heard of that one.
This is a dish from West Bengal in India. Dimar Patodi, sorry for butchering it. It is boiled eggs are cooked all the way through in a thick and flavorful paste. It is then tied in a banana leaf and steamed for some time. It is then served with a piping hot dish with flavored rice or roti to savor the dish.
Okay, well, that sounds really good.
It actually does sound really good. Why we probably don't see it too often in like the Western civilization is because it's an egg dish. It takes too damn long for the preparation wise for just a simple egg. This is our final segment, which to lighten the mood, which is called Egg Jokes and Trivia. I'll probably have a better name for this eventually. I'll figure something out. Anyways, so how many French eggs do you need?
I don't know, one?
You're right. One egg is enough.
Okay, continue.
So I was walking past the store today when I saw a sign saying all items 1/3 off. So I bought a dozen eggs. Unfortunately, 4 of them were raw.
I think I have a pretty good idea of how this segment's gonna go, so please continue.
This next one isn't necessarily a joke, but it's a little bit of trivia. Why do you think the reason for packaging eggs is by the dozen?
I'm not sure, just because of the way they make the boxes. I don't know.
No, well, I mean, not really. The reason for packaging eggs by the dozen may date back to a payment system in England in the 1st century. Eggs were traditionally sold for a penny or 12 for a shilling, which was equal to 12 pennies. So that's why the eggs are packaged as by the dozen.
Okay, cool. I didn't know that.
This next little trivia is, if you've ever come across a double yolk, that is simply 2 medium eggs that merged together and came from a young hen that is just learning how to lay eggs.
Okay, I've always wondered about this. You know when you get like a chip that's attached to 2 chips and you think it's lucky?
Yes.
So if I got one of those eggs, I think, oh, I got like a lucky egg. But it turns out that has nothing to do with luck.
It's nothing. Well, I mean, technically, it is something to do with luck. It's not a matter of production. It's not a matter of the company's production failure, but it's biologically a young hen that is just learning how to lay eggs. You just got lucky and you got a double yolk. You're not cheating the system. There's no like flaws in the nutrition. It's not unhealthier. It is just, 2 eggs in one. And so the final joke of the day, I was visiting my dear old grandpa the other day when he said to me, "Let me give you a bit of advice. You can't make an omelet." Without breaking eggs, I finished for him. "No, you can't make an omelet," he said as he scraped into the bin.
I'm glad one of us thinks that's funny.
I thought it was hilarious. I couldn't say it with a straight face. So. And that does it for the podcast for today. This has been Hugo and
Tune in!
And this has been The Sweet Life of Snack and Foodie. Thanks for listening.